Hello and welcome back to my full playthrough of Oathsworn into the Deepwood. Let me just take a moment and say, if you've made it this far into the playlist, why not give me a like or a subscribe, huh? I'm a small channel, I need all the help I can get. Anyway, let's continue into the story with Chapter 6.
The woods close in around you as you feel the first tremors deep inside you. You thought you'd purged the eggs, but you were wrong. Your skin ripples, the bloat-fly maggots burrowing up from beneath. You shudder, the shadow of night terrors chasing you awake. With the feelings of things boring out from your chest still fresh in your mind, you brace yourselves for the real world and head down to the tap room of the Broken Oak.
Instructions. Place the Veron map from Mystery Envelope B in the center of the play area and place the Chapter 6A time track beneath it. Place the free company marker on location 7. Take the Path A card. Okay, if we have Holbrook as an ally or otherwise. Let's see, do we have Holbrook? Doesn't seem familiar. We do not, so we will pick otherwise.
A knock comes from the tavern door. "Don't we have people for this?" Grey Cane chides as he wipes his hands and goes to answer. He looks over to you as he crosses the room. "Next time you choose to bring another stray back, can you pick one who looks like they know how to turn a handle?" You cannot see who is at the door, but after a brief exchange, Grey Cane turns back into the room, a scroll in hand. Breaking the seal and unravelling it, Grey Cane reads and looks up with a smile. "Best get your boots on. You have an appointment with the king."
Oh, the king. Neat. If you have Lady Alana as an ally or otherwise, we did pick up Lady Alana, so let's see what she has to say.
"I heard what Grey Cane said. Are you really going to see the king?" Lady Elena says, coming up beside you, her body close enough for you to smell her scent. "After the Deepwood, you give lodging to this mysterious woman, a ward from a dead house, now without position or possessions, yet still clad in the surety and confidence born of nobility. You are not sure if it is her bearing or her beauty, but she always left others feeling like they should have done more to please her." You nod to a question. "I know that this is asking a lot," she says sweetly, "but I would love to go with you to court. It's very important."
Okay, we have some choices. We can ask her why she wants to go to court, let her accompany you, or deny her request. Since she says it's very important, I want to know why she thinks it's important, so let's ask her why she wants to go to court.
"I must share something with you," she says, under her breath, looking up at you. "It is indecent conversation, but I must tell you. You see, I was born here in Verum and lived here until my parents died. My uncle, a foul man, took control of our estate and would have killed me to secure it. He would have succeeded, if not for good friends who spirited me away to Bastone with nothing but a locket." She motions to the small locket nestled below her neckline. "I had been a ward there ever since. My home, however, is here. I need those who knew my family to speak on my behalf to help me restore my rightful position and retrieve my estate. I also would not be averse to see my uncle exiled to the Deepwood without a knife, but that may come later. For now, will you help me?" She moves forward, putting a hand on one of your arms. "Will you help me reach the court?"
Oh, I can't say no to a face like that. Let's accompany her.
She smiles gleefully, clasping her hands together. "I'm going to court. I must get ready." She practically twirls as her feet patter quickly upstairs. "Well, she's very forthcoming when she wants something," Bran says suspiciously, drying a mug with a cloth. "Isn't she just?" says Grey Cane with a grin, as he watches the woman's ascent of the stairs. The table is cleared, and you are ready to move on, but Alana has still not returned. "The king waits for no one, you know," Bram says after a time. You get up, about to leave, when Alana appears, a long, flowing pearlescent gown clinging to her as she heads down the stairs. Where she obtains such finery is a question for another time, and one few care to ask as they watch her. Greycane steps forward, lifts her hand, and kisses it with a flourish. Perhaps for this he would not mind waiting. He smiles.
Instructions. Place location token 14 and go there.
She smiles gleefully,
Oh, shut up.
clasping her hands together. Under gentle rainfall, you make your way to the bridges separating the city. A throng of people going about their business press in on all sides. Even in this mass, though, you are given room. The armour on your chest and the iron on your back glean a fearful distance from many. Some of the faces passing by are covered in kerchiefs and rags, trying to protect themselves from the rot people speak of coming out of the cobbles. It seems the sickness is spreading fast, to strong and weak alike. Not like a bloat-fly pox at all. It seems the giant fly had not been the cause of this outbreak, but only taking advantage of the rancid remains the true source had left behind. Something else plagues the people of the cobbles. Judgment! A man in a hooded cloak yells as you approach the bridge to the noble quarter. The rot is our birthright, another shouts, his face covered in runes he has carved into his own flesh, some still as fresh as the blood on his knife. Only the righteous can overcome the flesh. In front of the various doomsayers, a man stands, arms outstretched as if orchestrating the mob. The man looks over his shoulder. He smiles grimly at you. Samuel.
Instructions. Perform a spot check, difficulty 5. Okay, however, before that, we did cover up the city event thing, so I think we'll do that first. I think we're supposed to do that first. Anyway, shuffle. We get a thin man, face plastered with fear, stumbles into you. Gripping your armor like it's the wire road, he manages to utter, "Help me," before a street gang barrels into view. They stare at the man with murderous intent. "Fister only wants to talk to you, Oliver," one of them says as they approach. "What do? Do you intercede on the man's behalf, turn the court over, or break the man's grip and walk away?" Ooh. We are nice people. A man comes to us and help, and we go to help him. You step between Oliver and the group, reaching for your weapons. There are a dozen men and only 4 of you. They look to their leader, not wanting to seem afraid at the sight of a free company. He gives the order to attack. Perform a round of combat against defense X, where X is 2 plus half your current chapter number, rounded down. So it is 5. As the dust settles, you turn to Oliver to find out what this was all about, but the man snuck away during the fighting. There you go. So everybody has to beat a 5. Let us see if we can do it. Otherwise, we're starting the next combat with 1 less health. We'll just roll 2. And it's a miss. So Kurt takes a point of damage. Let's make sure everybody's healed, huh? No sense starting with less health than I absolutely have to. Ranger. Problem is always I did not roll enough dice, clearly. Oh, Ranger's good. More than good. Bear. Let's make sure he can equip this weapon. Yes, okay. Complete myths, so Bear takes the damage. And last, Mimatade. Ooh, he's only got the red. Come on, Mimatade, you can do this. Put your shield in the way of a helpless man. Oh, and he gets it. So only Bear and Ranger Chuck Norris took damage. Okay, and let us... what was the instructions? Perform a spot check, difficulty 5. Okay. Let's go. We'll say Mimatade is doing this, I guess. And a complete whiff. Mimatade is as blind as I am.
A smell of sulphur and decay as Samuel carries on smiling. You blink, and he is gone. You cast your eyes into the crowd, but your attention is immediately drawn away by the frantic face of a priest running towards you.
Why do I get the feeling this guy's a terrorist?
The crowd is becoming more enthralled by the chorus of doomsayers. Several voices soon lend their strength, repeating absurd prophecies. Oathsworn! A priest, clad in simple robes, rushes up to your side, frantically trying to gain your attention. You are Oathsworn, yes? Please, come with me. The priest looks surprised when you don't move. Please! The priest pleads with you in a whispered growl, trying to avoid unwanted attention from others in the crowd. The fate of the city is at stake. As you know, the plague has ravaged the cobbles and it has been quarantined. A short time ago, someone broke the quarantine and ran into the city. If we do not track him down immediately, the whole city could be infected within hours. Please, I beg you.
Okay, he wasn't a terrorist, maybe. He was just, a leper. Instructions. 2 paths lay before you. You may track down this plague bearer to help protect the city, or you can make your audience with the king. You will not have time for both, because of course we never do.
The crowd is becoming more...
You know, if it wasn't for Lady Alana with me, I probably would go that, but I'm not taking this lovely little lady to help track down a plague. Like, we gotta escort her to the king. So, sorry, civilians.
You deny the priest's request, and fear crosses his face as he rushes on to find another who will help him. Now is not the time for heroics. You do not underestimate how dangerous a king's ire could be, nor do you want to keep him waiting.
Instructions. Take the path A chord, place location 28, and go there.
You deny. You see the imposing sight of Verum Palace long before you reach its gates. Its vaulted towers reach high into the sky, its walls bulge with great fortification. Upon entering the palace proper, you're ushered through echoing halls and stone corridors until you finally pass through the great carved doors of the throne room. The throne room itself is immense. Dazzling stained glass covers the rear wall, diffusing the room in a spectrum of colour. Nobles mill in loose organisation around the columns, hundreds of them. Still, they make no impression of filling the grand space. Your eyes travel up the broad red-woven carpet to the throne that sits under the stained glass. King Fabian is young. You would guess not much older than Midge. His hair is bright, as are his eyes under a simple crown. He sits, straight-backed and forward. It is clear he is observing the discussions and positions of every noble and councillor in the room. Guards at attention line the walls, and at the back of the room, standing alone, are 2 unmoving watchers, cloaked in midnight black. An advisor notes your entrance, and, as if they had been waiting for you, a chime rings out. The nobles turn to the throne, and a loud voice calls out across the crowd. Lord Brewer, the Crown will hear your petition for judgment. A middle-aged man steps from the crowd and bows. Highness, I seek justice. Lord Tavender has committed a wrong that must be righted. He has taken the hand of my daughter, Markenna, and a large holding as dowry. No small price, I assure you. He insults my house and myself by refusing to consummate the marriage by the 3rd night, as is law. The noble indicates his daughter, standing behind him in the crowd. She is perhaps 19, her sullen face downcast as she stands dutifully next to her new husband, a simply dressed man in his 50s, tall and thin, with signs of his age creeping into his features. Indeed, Lord Brewer, the adviser replies, accusations of this nature are taken most seriously by the throne. Has the woman been tested? We can attest to her maidenhood. She has not been touched by a man, says an older woman from a group of midwives. Lord Tavender, what is your response to the accusations laid against you? The adviser says. Tavender bows and steps meekly forward. Highness, my intentions toward Lady Markenna are nothing but honourable. She has security in my home, and I love her as my own blood. I have known her since she was a girl. We are happy, but I cannot bring myself to the deed. The king's adviser takes a breath to continue, when the king raises his hand to stop him. He turns to you. Free company, he announces, his voice confident and firm beyond what his years would suggest. You step to the carpet before the king and kneel. Tell me how you would judge this. You are my weapons, and I would see just how sharp you are. Show me your keen edge in this.
Are we really going to kill someone because he hasn't slept with his wife yet? Anyway, we have two choices: comply with the king's request, or humbly imply you are not worthy. We're going to humbly imply we're not worthy. Instructions. All Oathsworn gain a redraw token. Okay.
About to say you have no authority in these matters, the king sharply raises a hand to interrupt you. I give authority and I take it away. Let me see if you are worthy of that which has been given to you already. The eyes of all the gathered nobles settle curiously on you.
Oh, this isn't going to end well, is it?
You ask the adviser to review the accusations. The Lord Tavender has married Lady Markenna, daughter of Lord Brewer. Lord Brewer has proven the marriage has not been consummated against the law of the land, which clearly states that such a dishonour must be satisfied.
We have a lot of options. We can question Lord Tavender, question Lord Brewer, question Lady Markenna Tavender. If you think you've got enough information, present your judgment to the king. Let's question the lady.
Lady Markenna has not moved throughout the proceedings. Hands clasped together, she looks down. As you speak to her, her head shoots up. There is a flash of defiance in her eyes. Then she assents to speak. My husband and I are happy together. Can that not be enough? I was never to marry for love. Will you take happiness from me as well? My husband is an honourable man. You sense a well of anger behind her words, not aimed at you, but at her father. You believe you may glean more by fanning that flame.
I mean, yeah, you're not going to marry for love, but these kind of things are supposed to end in some kind of offspring so that the families can go on. Anyway, we are going to try to press her to reveal more. Instructions. Perform a reasoning check, difficulty 6. Oof, we're not going to do this. I think the only reasonable way we have to do this is with 4 white dice. We are going to try. Dun 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 dun. I should probably show y'all this, so y'all know I ain't cheating. Let's see what the 2 crits give us. I might spend a reroll on this. Okay, this would pass, but I need to spend a reroll so I don't fail. Now, I just realized you could do empower tokens with these skill tests. Huh. Yeah, I don't think I have an empower, but anyway. Yeah, we'll say Mimatade would have been doing this, so he will lose one of his redraws. Please, please, please. And we're going to do the physical rolling, because why not? We just make it. So, let's see what she's hiding.
Markenna's hands ball into tight fists. I pleaded with him not to give me away, but he had to have his way. My father cares more about those tunnels than me. Against all hope, my husband turned out to be a good man. Now that I have some semblance of happiness, he would take that too by having an old man mount his daughter. A spectacle for all Verum to see, and for what? For more iron? More profit? Brewer shoots her a look so dark the girl stops in her tracks, realizing what she has said. Her hands go to her mouth, anger on her father's face.
Okay, let's talk to someone else. We'll talk to the Lord Tavender.
You question the simply dressed lord, asking of the situation surrounding his marriage to the much younger woman. For generations, my family has been honoured by possessing writ to work a 1/7 part of the underways here in the city. I did not wish marriage, but during the last few years, things have become difficult. Carts have frequently gone missing, and my work gangs attacked as they descend the tunnels. We thought it beasts, but the apothecaries assured us they had been attacked by man-made weapons. The workers spoke of the remnant and the old gang lords rising up again. I was desperate, and then Lord Brewer came with an offer of guards and fresh carts in dowry for the hand of his daughter. Lord Tavender stifles a chesty cough as he looks to Lady Markenna. I knew her from court. She had played in my gardens as a girl, and I knew there was little happiness for her under her father's roof, so I thought it a kindness to bring her under my own. She is well cared for, and she has brought back life into my old halls since my previous wife died 3 winters ago.
Let's ask about his cough, huh? Instructions. We have to do is test for everyone. Perform a spot check, difficulty 5. Okie dokie. We're only going to do 3 white dice for this one, see what we get. I'm not really care too much about his cough. And it's going to be a fail, and I'm not going to waste a reroll on this.
The Lord simply excuses himself and waves away your question. It would be inappropriate to press him further.
Well, let's ask him about Markenna. More instructions. Perform a reasoning check, difficulty 5. Same thing. Another whiff. That was a bad whiff, too.
I want nothing but good for the girl, Lord Tavender utters, but she is so young, I cannot bring myself to the deed. I had hoped, well, that does not matter now. You try to draw more from him, but he will not reveal it.
You realize your life is on the line here? Anyway, we will go back and talk to the Lord Brewer.
You approach the accuser, Lord Brewer. He stands straight-backed, making clear he feels the imposition of being questioned by lowly soldiers. If it will help matters along, I shall tell you. I am lord over 1/7 of the underways, putting food on the plates of many of the nobles in these halls. says Lord Brewer, speaking to the crowd more than you. A large sum was paid in dowry for my only daughter to my Lord Tavender, spits Brewer. It appears he believes he can squander it, annul the marriage, and marry again to take another's iron. You know this man, this type, a bully. Sensing something, you step a little closer to Lord Brewer. He backs away instinctively. You thought as much. It is usually the loudest you have to fear the least, their noise merely covering their own fear. You may be able to use your presence to press him to reveal more.
Okay, he may be a little bit of a bully, but if he is taking the dowry and going to try to marry somebody else, then yeah, I'm kind of starting to agree with him, but we will press him for more information. And of course, it's a difficulty check. It is. Perform a threatening check, difficulty 5. 4 if you have an Ursus with us. We do have an Ursus, yay. And just for that, we're going to let him do the skill test. Let's see, does he have... He has 1 redraw. We might use it. This seems fairly important. Let's see what we get, though. A whiff. Yeah, we're not going to waste a 1 reroll for that. So, Bear is too cute to be intimidating, okay? Nobody's scared of him. They just want to cuddle with him.
You don't scare me. You are unfit to speak in a house of nobles, free company. He smirks at you in contempt.
Oh, listen up, you little bitch. I was on your side. Let's have an answer for the king, then. Speaking of the king, I forgot after that long intro, that was frickin' Joffrey, right?
You bow to the king, implying your readiness. The king claps his hands abruptly once for silence. He stares at you from the throne. So, free company, what say you? Where is the right in this matter?
Okay, we have several choices. We have a whole lot of choices. Suggest Tavender be arrested. Suggest Markina be arrested. Suggest Brewer be arrested. I can understand Tavender, but why? Maybe if we pass that skill test. Suggest the king annul the marriage, returning Markina to her father, and forcing Tavender to return the dowry. Suggest the king annul the marriage, returning Markina to her father, but Tavender could keep the dowry. Suggest the marriage is upheld, even without consummation, with the dowry remaining in place. Suggest the marriage is upheld, but not consummated, with the dowry remaining in place. Okay, so... Right now, I'm leaning to annul the marriage and return everything to the father, or suggest the marriage is upheld but must be consummated. Can't there be an option where it's y'all can stay, but you got to get the dowry back? Because I would pick that in a heartbeat. Marikina seems happy there. He seems upset that he's not going to get an heir, but more upset about the broken promise of the dowry. You know what? We are going to let fate decide. Sometimes you gotta roll a horse 6. Nope. Okay. D6. On an even, we will suggest we annul the marriage, returning Markina to her father and forcing Tavender to return the dowry. And on odds, we will uphold the marriage, but it has to be consummated. Let's go. Evens. So, annul the marriage, and we will get that dowry back. Let's see. Instructions. All Oathsworn gain a defense token.
The law is clear, the king declares. We deny its wisdom at our peril. However, the young king turns to face the two lords. There is more here than meets the eye, Lord Brewer. You seek a union with a declining house. Why? Why, neighbourliness, sire, says Brewer with a broad smile. Ah, of course, neighbours you are in the underways. The labyrinths are confusing. It must be difficult to know what is yours and what is another's down there in my underways, reminds the king. Brewer's smile fades as he gently wipes his temples as the young king continues. You know the story of my father's victory over the underway gang lords, do you not, Lord Brewer? 15,000 good men died to rid the city of that filth. He never got them all, though. Some disappeared deeper into the tunnels. Others, some say, came above ground, like rats, to feed off the city. Yours is a young house, is it not? Yet gaining such wealth so quickly makes it easy to overstep your bounds. You look uncomfortable, my lord. Tell me, would you freely submit to a search of your tunnels and caves? Certainly, sire, Brewer retorts. Of course, I shall send word to prepare for your inspectors. He bows and walks backwards, but the king nods and 2 guards step to block his retreat. That won't be necessary. They were there this morning. Brewer's face goes white. And returned with word of a cave filled with carts, formerly belonging to Lord Tavender. Tavender stares firmly at Brewer, whose eyes go wide as he sweats before the king. Before he can speak, the king silences him with a raised hand. You are the son of Ganglord Torvar, yes? I know, he says as Brewer looks down. If you knew of Tavender's illness through union, you would control 2/7 parts of the underway when the poor man passes. You would have controlled our supply lines and seen the gang lords return to the depths. This I will not allow, his tone dead serious. May I finish what my father started. Lord Inquisitor. At the king's gesture, an aged man with a hooked nose, his belt jangling with keys and cruel-looking instruments, steps forward from the shadows. Find out what he knows of the remnant in the underways. I have a regiment of guards who need testing. The Inquisitor nods as guards grab Brewer and drag him screaming from the hall. A palpable fear descends on the nobility. Lord Tavender, the king says, by the law of the land, I declare your marriage annulled. However, the dowry given to you, being of your own property, is yours. Lady Markenna, your father will be executed for treason, and your house dissolved. I see one course of action for you. Lord Tavender, I understand you have no children. The Lord nods. Will you take this woman into your home as your daughter? I will, sire, pronounces Lord Tavender. So be it, declares the king. Lady Markenna smiles at Lord Tavender. You look up at the young king on the throne, his regal bearing and countenance belying his years. He has had more than one victory here today. Fear and respect are a powerful combination for a ruler to wield.
All right, this is a good guy. And we have 2 choices. If we allowed Alana to come with you or otherwise. We did bring her to court, so let's see what she has to say.
In the crowd, you spot Alana, arms linked with a distinguished-looking nobleman. They are pointing to the vaulted ceiling, seemingly talking about the architecture of the great hall. As chattering about the trial begins among the rest of the nobles, her goal of making connections is apparently going well. The king calls for the hall to be cleared, but bids you stay. The court empties, and once the king is satisfied that only you and the small council remain, he leans forward. Now, to other matters. There is a plague ravaging the city, more than lung rot, it seems. High Captain Trent, would you present your findings? A grim-faced Trent steps forward and reports on the casualties and the spread, detailing piles of bodies being found in alleys, the symptoms and the many losses. It is in the cobbles at the moment, striking old and young, strong and weak alike. To those it touches, it is a death sentence. The king nods. Your recommendation. The High Captain tugs at his elaborate chainmail tunic. Your Highness, I see no way to contain it. We do not know how it spreads, and to learn these things could take months and many more lives. I suggest the whole of the cobbles be eradicated by flame, burn the blocks to the ground, and the plague along with it. Wait for the spring and rebuild. A man wearing ornate robes only allocated to the chief apothecary intercedes. With due respect to the High Captain, this is madness, sire. May I speak freely? The king nods. I'd not have my advisers do anything else. Heal them, sire, the apothecary pleads. Not burn them. My people will continue to search for a cure, but the captain speaks the truth. It is spreading too quickly and getting worse. It pains me to say this, but we need help. The mendicants of Cistercia are renowned for their knowledge of disease. Send for them and find a cure. With that, a man with an oddly patterned golden robe steps forward. Lord of Coin, the king acknowledges, gesturing for the man to speak. A burning would be a massive drain on the royal coffers, sire. Replacing an entire section just in stone and wood alone would be a terrible cost, while we see no path to heal them at this time. Cordon the cobbles off, no entry or exit. Let the plague take its toll and reap their lives, but leave the buildings standing 1 year, then repopulate. The king turns to a tall, thin man in pure white robes and an elaborate mitre hat. Archbishop? My lord, the man says, his voice barely above a whisper. God's trials come in many forms. What kills the body may save the soul, and in the heat of the crucible we are remade, the pillar and the path. If the pillar cannot stand, it is not fit. But if it can be restored, it will be stronger for the trial. Strength may come from this weakness. Let us simply wait, my lord, and see. These are all wise words, says the king, and yet all differ. Free company. What counsel would you give?
I do not agree. The just let it wait and have it resolve itself is not wise words. However, the other three do have some semblance of sense. So, we have 4 options. Burn the cobbles, find a cure, quarantine, or wait. We are going to try to find a cure and help these people. Instructions. All Oathsworn gain Empower ×3 token.
There is danger in that path, especially for you, hopeful but perhaps foolhardy. What if there is no cure, or the mendicants do not have the craft to find it? What would happen to the city then? Hope is often a treacherous ally.
Well, with God, all things are possible, so jot that down.
The Watcher glides forward and whispers in the king's ear before he can make any proclamation, agreeing or disagreeing with your decision. He listens. The king nods, resigned. Your counsel has been weighed by the throne, the king declares. Free company. Be my voice. Travel to Cistercia. Take my seal, and under my authority return with what mendicants are released to your charge. High Captain, open the armory doors to this company, that they might steel themselves for the journey. Archbishop, set a vigil for them. They carry our hopes into the Deepwood. The king gives his leave, and you bow, wondering at the irony of the term free company in times like this. I hear you are called the heroes of Bastone, the king calls as you go to leave. I hope you will be known as the heroes of Verum as well.
I mean, Bastone is a pile of rubble now, so don't put too much faith in that. Instructions. Reveal all cores from Chapter 6 Common Deck. Each Oathsworn gains 1 item from it. Place location token 3 and go there. Okay, we go shopping for free.
The Watcher.
Let's see. So, we get, what the hell? Oh, Barbed Flail. Before drawing damage for your first attack of the round, add a red dice. Very nice. A longbow. I'm pretty sure we're going to give that to Chuck Norris just so he has a spare. A lucky charm. Gain 1 redraw for an attack or basic check. Did I have that I can use? Is it in my thing? I feel like I do have the lucky charm. Okay, it's not equipped though. Then a great axe. 3 yellow dice. When you critical during an attack that hits, draw 2 additional cards rather than 1. And the bear can take that. That seems really cool. If you moved at least 3 hexes this turn, battle flow 1 card. Ooh. Ooh, a claymore. After damage is drawn against you, gain 1 against that damage. When you critical to an attack that hits, add 1 damage and 1 knockback. That's really cool. And the Pentient can use that until one-handed. That's probably going to the Pentient. Book of Monsters. Reveal the special rules no matter what. Cloak. Before damage is drawn against you, have less than 4, gain 1 defense against that damage. Evergreen Staff. When you use an ability with the range keyword, add 2 range. Leather Armor. When you attack, if there are no Oathsworn adjacent, gain 2 yellow dice. That is very good for Chuck Norris, since he is usually off by himself. A new shield. Gain in power times 2 on an attack. And another dagger. So we think these are going to go here maybe. These are for him. These may be for the rogue. This may be for the bear. And the rest of these we don't particularly care for. Okay, so let us decide. Bear, we only have the one thing we really want for him, so he will take that and put the pole cleaver back in the bag. Now he gets 3 yellow dice because he's a beast like that. Okay, Chuck Norris. Range 5, 2 yellows. He already has that. The problem is we're going to have to get rid of one of his items. It's probably going to end up being the whetstone, but 3 armor. Another armor is so good though. And he already has the longbow. Yeah, we're going to give him this and put his level. Is this better for Kerr? 2. Now we're going to let him keep the damaging one. This goes back in. Kerr, we can either get a hunting knife, which is a dagger. He already got that. Or a flail. Before drawing damage for your first attack of the round, add a red, which is very nice. Would that be better than his Bloatfly Sting? When you draw no blank cards, after redraws, during an attack where you drew at least 4 cards, the target loses an additional wound. I do like auto wounds, but not missing with 4 dice seems a little difficult. So yeah, he's going to get rid of the Bloatfly Sting and gain the Barbed Flail. So now he's rocking a yellow and a red. Not a black. This will go back in the bag. This will go here. And Mimatade. Do I want a spear or a new shield? It's still a 1 shield. It's a red thing, plus 2 damage, but it's thrown, which I don't like. We're going to take the iron top, the weapon. Everything the same, except instead of knocking it back, instead of having a thrown with +2 damage, we're having, when you're critical during an attack that it hits, added damage and a knockback. And all this goes back to the pile. Okay, and back to the story.
Glide. Weapons oiled and armor adjusted, you stand before the great city gates. Bram rummages through your packs, performing one last check on your rations. You would pack them yourself, but you have learned allowing others to do some things for you allows them to feel a part of what you do. Greycane approaches with a smile on his face. Long road ahead. Thought you might like some company. I found a few hired swords you might want to consider taking with you. They aren't cheap, but you get what you pay for in these matters. Brevik recently lost his family to the plague and needs to work out a few things on the wire. Yanni is a trapper, and a damn good one too. Doubtless keep you better fed than Bram, he says with a smiling glance at the barkeep. Bram starts a comeback, huffs, and then gives up, busying himself with your packs.
Instructions. You may gain Brevik and or Yanni as allies for 10 iron each. If you hire Brevik, gain the ally cord 17 Brevik at Deepwood event cord 30, yada yada. If you hire Yanni, 18. Let's see what those do, 17 and 18. Brevik, 3 defense, red and a yellow. Move 4, range 4 attack. When you attack and kill an enemy, you may make an additional attack for free, max once per round. That's neat. And Yanni, trapper, move 4, attack range 5. Once per encounter, place a tracker token in an empty adjacent hex for free. When any character enters a hex, they lose 1 and the track token is removed. Only once per encounter though, with 3 yellows. I mean, how much gold do we have? We have 53. If we get both, we'd be down to 33. You know what? More the merrier. We're going to get both of them. So that means we get Deepwood 30 and Deepwood 9. That's a weird thing. It's the only one not marked. Okay, so these go into the Deepwood. And City Event 27 and 28. That is it for that.
Greycane, never one for a lack of words, gives you one last piece of advice. Watch yourself out there. There has been word of strange sightings from the guards. Things in the wood are not the usual fare. Shadows and bumps in the night, nothing solid, but you and I both know that's the stuff you need to pay attention to. Finally ready, the mighty gates of the city rumble open, and the road stretches to the dark maw of the Deepwood. The flag of Verum flutters from atop the first stake of the wire road. You set your jaw and start walking.
Instructions. Add city event cord 7, 8, 9, and 10. Add Deepwood events 12, 13, 14, and 15. Place location 10 and go there.
The sights and sounds of Verum are soon consumed by the path behind you. The distance impossible to tell as each tree merges into the next and a familiar gloom settles over the wire road. You have been here many times in the dark. You begin to relax into the long journey ahead.
Instructions. Perform a spot check difficulty 5. That's not good. We're going to fail this. 3 whites. Let's go. We'll say bear because bears have good eyes, I think. Maybe. Crit white. Blank 2-4. Is this worth a reroll? We're gonna do it. It may not be, but we'll see. And we'll do physical rolling, because why not? Get it just barely. I should just roll like that more often. I seem to have better success. Instructions. All Oathsworn gain a battle flow token. Okay. Losing 1 reroll for 4 battle flows. That seems like a good deal. It may not be, but whatever.
You snap to attention as you realize your carelessness. You cannot afford to relax into the march. Familiarity will kill you out here. Keeping your eyes on the trees and a hand on the wire, you press on. You are not far from Verum when a pregnant silence falls over the company. Suddenly, all you can hear is the sound of boots on mud and hands running along the wire. Silence is never good. You draw weapons. There is something out there. You catch a glint from predatory eyes fixed on you. The eyes are moving fast, coming right at you. Horrific, two-legged things bound through the shadows, almost silent as they come. 7 feet tall, with whip-like arms, their bodies ruined and twisted, by God only knows. They fall on the group. They are so swift, you have no time to shout a warning.
Instructions. If you have mystery chest, okay, it's just proceed to chapter 6 encounter. I've been ambushed? Mark the ambush spot for this chapter in free company ship. But I did the spot check. You little weasel. I wonder if there's any way to not get ambushed. Anyway. Encounter. What the hell are those things? Shit, I don't want to fight. Instructions. After the encounter, continue to the epilogue. Okay, well. That is it for this episode of Oathsworn into the Deepwood. I will see you next time as I fight these unholy abominations. I don't know. Until next time, take care.